So for lesson 89, we get into solving problems with two unknowns, and we're going to solve these problems by graphing. We're actually diving into the topic of solving system of equations with this. In method number one, we typically start out with by graphing. So really nothing new today as far as how we go about completing the problem. We're going to be given two equations. Both of them are going to be linear, and we need to know how we go about graphing them. And then the last step is going to be able to identify their intersection. So let's start with a little review. We're going to graph the line y is equal to negative 2/5 x plus 2. If we graph this line, we can use slope-intercept form, which is y is equal to mx plus b. So when we go to identify our b value, that's obviously going to be the 2. And recall that b value represents the y-intercept. That's where it crosses not the x, but it's where it crosses the y-axis, the vertical axis. So there it is at 2. Now from that point, we go on to our slope, our m value. Our slope in this particular case is negative 2/5. So the top number again tells us whether we're going to go up or down. Well, because it's negative, we're actually going to go down that many units. So we're going to start from our point, and we're going to go down 2 units. So 1, 2. And then we're going to go right 5 units. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And there is the next point that we're going to find on our graph. Again, if we wanted to, we continue the pattern down 2, right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There is our next point. And we could continue the pattern in the other way by finding that point there. And there's our line. So what you're going to be doing in today's lesson is you're going to be graphing these two lines using any method that you want to, and then you're simply going to look for the intersection. So Theo, he's thinking of two numbers. He says that the sum of the two numbers is going to be 6. So there's our first equation there. Number x plus number y is going to get us a total of 6. He also says that one number is going to be 10 more than the other. So we take one number, we're going to add 10 to it to generate our next number. We want to know what are the two numbers that he's thinking of. And what we're going to do is we're going to solve the system of equations by graphing them. So let's start with this x plus y is equal to 6. We have to graph this equation. And our methods are picking x values, solving for y, slope-intercept form, and also identifying the x and y intercepts. Well, for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and pick some x values, and then we'll solve for y. Some x values that we want to solve for really doesn't matter. We could go with negative 2, 0, and 2. Now, if my x value is 2, that must mean that my y value would be 8. Because negative 2 plus 8 would get me that 6. If my x value is 0, that must mean my y value is 6. And if my x value is 2, that would mean my y value would have to be 4. So I chose the xy table for this one simply because I can do mental math in my head to generate those y values. So let's go ahead and label this graph in red. And the ordered pairs that we got from it are the ones that we have. So negative 2, 8. There's the first one. 0, 6 is the next one. And 2, 4. And as you can see, we start to develop our line. If we wanted to, we could add that point as well. And there's our line that we have created off of it. Now we have to go to the second equation. And it is y is equal to x plus 10. Well, let's go back to how we started the lesson. We reviewed slope-intercept form. And if we do that, we recognize that our y-intercept is that 10 value. So I'm going to go to my y-intercept and I'm going to graph that point 10 right there. Now off of it we have the slope 1, which again the slope 1 can be written as 1/1. This tells us to go up or down. This one tells us to go right that many units. So because it's positive now, we're going to go up, and then I'm going to go right 1 unit. So up 1, right 1 unit. Now obviously I'm falling off my graph, but that's okay. We're going to continue this pattern in the other direction though. So down 1, left 1. And the question is, well, why did I emphasize really going down to the left there? Well, the whole key to this problem is being able to find the intersection point of these two lines. The intersection point occurs right here. And that intersection point is the point -2, 8. And that ordered pair right there is actually the solution to our system of equations that we have. Why? Well, the sum of those two numbers do get us 6. Also, the one number happens to be greater than the other by 10. So what were the two numbers that we were thinking of? They were -2 and 8. I am not going to go over example number 2 with you, okay? But instead, we are going to attempt A and C, and we will do those in class when we get back.